If you haven't heard, I have changed my name back to Pastor SouZy. Now, if you have not been following my content for a long time, it's quite a big deal for some. Maybe for some mixed emotions, maybe for some wondering why, maybe for some a moment of great joy. What I want to do right now is I want to try to bring clarity behind what was the mindset that led to this decision. Now, I've been streaming this December, will mark 10 years, an entire decade. It's pretty much been almost my entire adult life. It has been one of the greatest joys and privileges of my life, and I am so thankful. And if you don't know my story, for the first 5 years of my stream, my Twitch name was Pastor SouZy. And then the second 5 years, it was actually SouZy Live. So I actually got to experience an equal amount of having both names and an equal amount of both methods, both strategies, both different approaches. And if you guys don't remember, but 5 years, you can look up on my YouTube video, I released a video entitled Why I Changed My Name to SouZy Live. And so this is kind of like a part 2, why I changed my name back to Pastor SouZy. And one thing I want to make clear is that I actually don't disagree with the points that I made in that video 5 years ago. Like I literally actually went back and rewatched it, and I was like, I still fundamentally agree with every single thing that I said in this video. But then that poses a greater question for you. If I still agree with everything that I said in that video, well then why would I change my name back? And in this video, I want to break down really 2 reasons that led to that. First reasons being, 1, just because I don't disagree with what I said in that video, it doesn't mean that 5 years later, I haven't learned new things that I didn't know back then. That is the story of life. And then number 2, the reality is life is made up of seasons, not something that you do or a way that you think or an approach that you have to anything will last your entire life. I think sometimes we get too obsessed something that's happening in your life right now, and we've just convinced ourselves like this is just the rest of my life, when the reality is hardly ever that's the case. Do me a favor, put a 5 in the chat if a season of life you had 5 years ago that maybe you thought like this is just the new norm. Life isn't even that way anymore. The reality is life changes. Life changes, and I want to talk through those 2 things. 1, new things that I've learned in the past 5 years of being SouZy Live. It's one of the reasons that I'm changing my name back to Pastor SouZy. And look at all those 5s falling in, dude. Like life just changes. Like 5 years ago, I didn't even have a dog. Now I got a dog with a diaper. One of the reasons I'm changing my name back to Pastor SouZy is a new thing that I have learned is really the principle of uniqueness. Now, this is super duper important. When I first started streaming on Twitch 10 years ago, you didn't really even have to try. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like you just turned on the stream, and as long as you were just somewhat interesting, you were probably gonna grow. Fast forward 10 years later, that is just not the case. Many of you have attempted streaming. It is incredibly difficult today to stand up above the noise. Like you gotta find what's different about you, you gotta find what's unique about you, and you kind of really gotta lean on that thing that makes you unique. And the reality is, some of you might not know, but like the Washington Post named me the world's first gamer pastor. Like I started the world's first church for gamers ever in the history of mankind. And like, what an honor and a privilege. And the reality is I don't really use that to my advantage, which is like not exactly smart. Now I knew that when I changed my name, but I felt God was calling me to change my name for that season, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on my next point. But you have to find things about you that really make you unique and like help you stand out above the noise. I want to give you an example. Another World of Warcraft creator that some of you might know and some of you might not. Her name is WoW Grandma, okay? Now, she is a grandma. She's, I think, like 82 years old or 78, something in that age range. And she plays WoW. And what makes her so unique is that she isn't just a WoW player. She's a grandma who plays WoW. Now, outside of the fact that she's a grandma, she's good at the game. She is enjoyable to watch. She's very nice. But all of those are not very unique. There's plenty of nice people on the planet. There's plenty of people who are good at WoW. There's plenty of people who are interesting to listen to. What makes her unique is that she's a grandma who does that. That same principle applies to me. Sure, am I good at World of Warcraft? Sure. Am I relatively nice? Am I interesting? Am I funny? Am I positive? Sure. There's a million people who are all those things. What makes me unique is I'm the world's first gamer pastor. What makes me unique is not that I'm almost a top 1% WoW player, because there's a lot of other top 1% WoW players. but it's a little bit more unique when there's a pastor who's the top 1% WoW player. There are many WoW mythic raiders out there, but there's not many, if maybe even if there are any at all, pastors who are mythic raiders. There's a lot of people who get 3K mythic plus rating in World of Warcraft, but there's probably not many pastors who get 3K mythic plus rating. When I was Pastor SouZy and I played RuneScape, word spread like wildfire. Hey, did you hear about that pastor that plays RuneScape? Because it's so unique and it's so different. And so for me to not use what makes you unique is really it's just to my own disadvantage. Like if you have something that you did for the first time in the world, not in an arrogant way, but I would probably encourage you to use that to your advantage. From a marketing standpoint, to not utilize that, honestly, is really just a throw. In a world where you need to stand out above the noise, it's really, really imperative. Number 2 reason I changed my name from new things that I've learned is the importance of messaging. Over the past 2 years, I have become obsessed with learning how much our words matter, how much our messaging matters, basically learning the art of marketing, meaning how we're advertising and putting things out to the world. And messaging is important not only for what I just talked about, but it's also important because it really communicates who is your stream for? Who are the type of people that will enjoy your content? Now, in a perfect world, I want everyone to enjoy my content. I want everybody to love being in my stream. But as a content creator, the sooner you realize that not everyone will enjoy your content, the sooner you can start really asking yourself, well, who will enjoy my content? And for me, I love being kind. I love being funny. I love being energetic. I love playing with the gaming community. But obviously, one thing that you guys know is I love more than anything. I love to share about my faith in Jesus. God has absolutely changed my life, and on stream, not even 24/7, but we have moments where I love to be able to pray for people. I love to be able to answer some questions, and I love to be able to be a source of hope and encouragement for gamers around the world. And that messaging is important because then it lets people know, one, what are they getting themselves into when they click on your stream, right? What are they actually signing up for? When you click on a YouTube video, the title should give you a hint as to what you're getting yourself into. Same thing with my Twitch name. If I am gonna talk about Jesus on my stream, if I am gonna act like a pastor on my stream, then my title being Pastor SouZy actually in one sense is a good thing because it's giving people a heads up as to what the stream is all about. In one sense, it's also giving people who don't want to watch that content. It's telling them that if you do not want to hear about God, which is absolutely people's decision, it's telling them that maybe this isn't the content that maybe you would enjoy watching. Now, honestly, this was a hard one for me because over the past 2 years, I have reached so many people. I've grown Unity Gaming, which is one of the greatest joys of my life. I'm going to talk about what this name change means for Unity Gaming here, probably in a part 2 to this video. But the reality is, Unity Gaming and my stream, they really are 2 separate entities. They really are. They're completely 2 separate things. They also, in some ways, have a little bit of a different mission. Unity Gaming is on a mission to bring an end to toxicity and loneliness in gaming. That's not going to change. No matter who people are, no matter their background, no matter how they choose to live their life, that is Unity Gaming. But my stream is me personally. And so who I am is a little bit different than that. My mission to my stream when I first started has always been that I want to be able to share the love of Jesus with as many people as possible. And there have been a lot of people in Unity Gaming who I'm so glad that I've met them, who I've loved them. But even though they love Unity Gaming, even they've realized maybe I just don't connect with SouZy's stream because I'm not interested in the whole faith aspect. And I respect the decision. There are plenty of people in Unity Gaming who do not watch, they know who I am, they found my TikTok, but then quickly they realize hey, you know what, I'm not interested in God, so I don't watch SouZy's stream, but I still want to hang out in Unity Gaming. Absolutely. And that is still going to be available. But that messaging to give people clarity on who they are, what my stream is all about, so they can decide for themselves if they want to be a part is huge. Because the reality is when it comes to my stream, and I hope you hear my heart on this, I love all people that come through my stream, but I just can't keep spending the rest of my life creating content, trying to reach people who don't want to watch that content. Again, Unity is a place for all people. My stream is also a place for all people, but really the only people who are going to enjoy watching my content are going to be people who are okay with the fact that on my stream, I do talk about Jesus. Because if you are someone that doesn't want to hear about Jesus, I respect that decision. But the truth is, you're probably not going to enjoy a lot of what I have to say. And I just can't keep making content, obsessing, trying to make content for people who don't want to watch it. I have to try and find ways to be able to make content that targets people who are interested in that content. And then of course, anyone who doesn't want to hear my faith stuff, Unity Gaming is absolutely a place for you. Like, I want to get you plugged in, but I hope you can understand that dichotomy for me of like bringing a lot of people in who, because I've had people DM me, literally I've had a lot of people DM me, be like, hey man, love the positivity, but because you talk about Jesus, I refuse to watch your stream. And I respect that, but I just can't spend the rest of my life creating content for people who don't want to watch it, right? And I hope that many people can understand, it doesn't affect my view of people, love people, but at the end of the day, I think clarity in the messaging will be important. Second reason before I wrap up the video is why I've changed my name back to Pastor SouZy. It's again, just a different season of life. Just a different season of life. When I changed my name to SouZy Live, that was 5 years ago. A lot can change in 5 years. A lot can change in 10 years. And right now, for the past 5 years, I was really kind of focusing on really being like a content creator. I spent 5 years learning, like, what does it mean to just be a content creator who's developing their skills, creating content, making TikToks, all this kind of stuff. And that was great. I learned so much. And if I had never changed my name to SouZy Live, I honestly wouldn't have learned so many different aspects of what it means for me to be a Christian on the internet. Because honestly, I've really done it all at this point. I've been a full-blown pastor on the internet. I've been a Christian streamer who their stream is like very, very, very Christian-centered. But then I've also been a streamer who is a Christian, meaning they're a Christian, but my content isn't necessarily like Christianity is the focus, meaning that it's more focused on like just the game, or it's more focused on community. But to be honest, like as I get older and now that I'm back to being a pastor, it just really is my heart and passion to just fulfill that pastoral role. Like when people come into my stream, I love taking the time to pray for people. I want people to be able to come in my stream and know that I will pause and pray for them. Like I want that. That's the season of life that I'm like, I want to care for people. I want people to be able to come in and ask a question from time to time. That doesn't mean that I'll be, talking about Jesus 24/7, but it just means that if there are people on the internet looking for a gamer who can answer a faith question, like I want people to know, like Pastor SouZy is the place to go. Like, oh, you're a gamer and you actually want to learn about God? Pastor SouZy is your guy. Like he's the guy you want to go to. Like that's the season I feel God calling me into. I want to be able to provide a sense of hope and encouragement that is so much beyond just the video game. And I have changed my approach over the years as I have just felt God calling me in a new season. Like when I first started the stream, I was very much in a season and I was like, God, I want to be obedient to what you're asking me to do. And okay, I'll do that. But then 5 years later, I felt God asking me to do something a little bit different. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do that. And to be honest, I've actually wanted to change my name back to Pastor SouZy for close to 3 years, but I just didn't feel it was the right time. Again, I'm just trying to follow God's like leading for my life, which can be like really hard to do. But now I feel that that time is right. I want to be able to be that place when people around the world hear that there is a place where they can come learn about faith, they can hear about God, all the while we, play video games. I want to be that guy. When I first started streaming, I was that guy. And I've really just come to the conclusion, like, that's who I am. That is God's calling and assignment for me in this season of my life. SouZy, will you change your name again 15 years from now? I don't know what my life looks like 15 years from now. All I am trying to do is say, today, God, what do you want me to be doing? And then I want to follow that. And if that changes 15 years from now, dude, we'll figure that out 15 years from now. But I think we need to be less attached to the current season of life we're in and understanding that life is flexible and that change isn't always bad. And sometimes, man, all of us, we're just on a journey trying to figure out all of life. But I'm so glad that I don't have to figure it out all by myself. I can figure it out with the leading of God. And my hope is that in this stream, people who are looking for hope, people who are looking for encouragement, and even if it's people who are, maybe they're not necessarily interested in following Jesus, but they at least have to be okay with the fact that I talk about it, because if they're not okay, then the reality is they're just not going to spend their time in the stream, right? They're either going to turn it off, or they're going to X out, or they're going to unfollow. I love all people. But the truth is, if people don't want to hear about Jesus, that's their decision. But of course, if I do something on my stream that they don't want to hear, naturally they will just be watching less and less, or not at all. I absolutely respect their decision. Hopefully we can spend some time in Discord. Would still love to get some games in. But I want that to be a place where people can come, hear about God's love, obviously hang around our passion for gaming, but then also be able to provide hope and encouragement for gamers around the world.